Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. We have a Zerg versus Protoss for you today on Polestar 1.1. Our players are Airfu, who is our blue Protoss, and he is playing against one of my favorite Zerg players in the world. It is Effort, who is just got a huge stack of really epic games that have been cast on YouTube by various casters. And I don't know if you guys will recall, but quite recently I released a game where Airfu played against our ASL 20 champion Zerg Soma, and he beat him, which was not a result that I was expecting, but it was very, very cool to see. He's also going to first scout effort here, and looks like he is doing some kind of delay here. Scouted the overpool, and I think he's going to now go and get himself a forge. So he's going to do a 12, 12, 12. I think he did a similar opening against Soma, if memory serves, but that was a little while ago. Anyway, we're trying something a little different. It is the 4th of December today, 2025, and we are actually recording a game after work. So we're just doing one game on weeknights where we're feeling up to it, to try and reduce the burden on the weekend and to keep the content flowing. So a little part of me is curious to know how different, if at all, my casting presentation will be on a weekday after a long day's work versus a weekend. But we're mixing it up. I'm very, very happy. I've been listening back to a couple of the recent games that I've done. I think we've got the audio levels and settings really good now. So now it's just a case of finding really good games and trying to improve our game knowledge and our presentation to make it enjoyable. And our view counts since we've returned have been on the low side, but I did expect that because the channel was pretty much dead for 2 years. But it is picking up a little bit. We are picking up the odd subscriber. This cannon is slow, but it will arrive just in time. And so all dramas are averted. Our Protoss still has his scouting probe alive and well. Hasn't seen the lair, does see the gas. It does feel like a Hydra list open at this stage, but scouting probe will have to try and stick around to confirm one way or the other. So Overlord decides to fly in to scout the tech tree of the Protoss. Usually you want to see things like the Stargate timing and information of that nature. So yeah, other than that, not too much to talk about in the world of StarCraft. Everybody's doing their competitions. It is now, obviously the time you're watching this, it is 2026. It is my goal to try and do 150 games, or at least upload 150 games onto my channel in 2026. So please do let me know in the comments who your favorite player is. Based on how many comments I get, and how many times I get the same players, I will tailor my searches accordingly when I look for new replays to cast. Okay. Does see the Cybernetics core timing. We'll see the Stargate, etc. as well. Probably, Scouting Probe is still alive, which is a sign, as we've said before, of a very, very strong player. Look at Effort's APM, man. 480. The man is really, really warming up his hands. It is boiling hot today. I live in Melbourne, Australia, which is a place where the climate is relatively temperate most of the time. You can have, and we did this week, we had a maximum in December of 12 degrees. And in the same week, we've had a maximum of 36. So today is the 36th day. So it is a little warm. Still pretty comfortable in the office that I'm busy sitting in casting this game. But I've got a nice ice-cold soda chilling here on the table, and I will certainly be having a sip during any quiet moments. We have a zealot here just scouting out, probably trying to just understand what's happening. The scouting probe died. Unfortunately, I did miss that. But I think the zealot will get a good sense of the drone count here at the third base and go, this doesn't feel like a 973 timing because you've got too many drones at your third. And so probably thinks it's going to be a Spire opening. Of course they will fly in now and confirm that shortly anyway. Diet soda, or pop, I think is what it's also called, is the most wonderful invention. It's probably not very good for you in terms of the chemicals and the shit that's in it, but nothing like diet pop with ice to just refresh you when it's warm. It really, really is good. So I'm on diet pop power as bringing this game. So it does fly in, confirms. What the frick is this? Double Hydraless build, or a double Hydraless den? Is this a mistake? No, come on. You cannot tell me that Effort, being who he is, one of the best Zergs that's ever played this game, made 2 Hydraless dens by accident. He's not using them for anything. What is going on? Did he need to make an Evo chamber and he misclicked somehow? No, that is insane. Absolutely, totally, and completely insane. He's getting Flyer Carapace. So I think he meant to make another hatchery. I don't know what he meant to do. Oopsie. Oh, that's hilarious. I don't know how much that's going to set him back, but that is an hilarious mistake. Really, really, really funny. There is no world in which you would get 2 Hydra dens and not rush the upgrades like Lurker or something like that. So he's not doing that. He's making mutas, even though he's seeing the spinning cyber core with his Scourge and the Corsairs, and speed's about to kick in as well on these Zealots and +1 attack. So things are looking pretty good in Protoss land. If you effort, you're gonna have to pull a rabbit out of a hat here. Of course he's running away. It's only 4 mutas. I think you could engage. Left some units behind here, and the Sunken and the Sim City I think will do the job. I don't know how good of an attack this is. Does get the Sunken and has 3 Zealots remaining, but this is a big commitment to mutas, so ties it up without a problem, and I think our Protoss is running a risk of getting himself pretty badly contained here. Yeah, he made H. He meant to make a hatchery and he made a Hydra den. Even the pros do it. Alright, well here comes a bit of Scourge muta harassment time. And one little lonely cannon. And, okay. A whole squadron of Corsairs will get the job done, I reckon. Okay, so effort went from being miles ahead to behind, just based on one really, really, really poor exchange between Corsairs and Mutalisks. Are we going to get a normal game? Still hasn't made a Hydralisk. Does have this Archon out, probably to fight the mutas, which they are very good at. DT comes in here, got himself a couple of drone kills, disappears, or maybe it was Zerglings earlier. Weird game so far. Pretty fun though. Still hasn't done his Hydra upgrades. Still just going with Mutamaniac. Still only, okay, he does have 2 cannons. But 2 cannons with Corsair support. If it is trying again, it does actually manage to kill all the Corsairs and keep at least 3 of these Mutalisks alive. So this is quite painful for Airfu, who is still only on 2 bases. He's sending out a little counterattack of Zealots here, but there's a lot of Sunkens. And he ain't going to get any penetration there. There's also plenty of Sunkens here. So this is a serious, serious commitment to Mutalisks from our Zerg. Maybe some goons are coming out? Nope, still making Zealots. Pick himself up an Overlord. One bruised meter remains. A couple of spares here as well. Just a serious commitment to meters. We do see Dragoon range coming in, so I think there's going to be a transition. Our very first upgrade from the Hydra dens, plural, are on the way, and it is lurker aspect. So we're still not looking to make inverted commas standard Hydras. I think this is going to get shut down pretty easily. I got 3 cannons here. Only a single Corsair though. It does storm and gets a decent amount of bruising on those meters. He's poking around there, but he's got so much static defense. So slow Hydra's arriving. He's using his Evo chamber to upgrade missile attacks, but isn't getting the range or speed upgrade on the Hydras yet. Ooh, that was a good storm. He's getting one shot. Another storm there gets pretty much all the meters. Only one left. I think the goons should be able to tidy that up. Trying to establish a third here. I think he's actually got a pretty good chance of getting that off the ground. And if it kind of still, I don't want to say stuck, but settled on his 3 bases for the time being. Couple of Lings are going to come and harass. His cannons aren't up yet. He's going to have to send some enforcements because Lings kill cannons really fast. Has to even cancel the Nexus. Oh man, that is so disruptive. His Zealots really should have been in place here. This is actually really critical damage from a Protoss perspective. The delay on that 3rd base is massive. He really needs it. He's got so many workers. He's moving through these mines. This is very unoptimized mining, and he's moving through these minerals really quick. So it does re-establish the Nexus, but that's just set him back easily a minute and a half, possibly longer. DT still lurking around to see what he can find. A couple of goons and support units coming in here, which I think is what he needed to keep. He didn't have to have all his units at the rally. Especially Zealots. It's not like they would help against the mutas. Okay, so we've made some lurkers. We are getting our other Hydralist upgrades. This time the Lings that are harassing and trying to stop the establishment of the 3rd base are well dealt with. We are back with our mutas. Trying to pick off High Templars. Does get one. You don't really see mutas and Corsairs involved too long in the mid game. They don't tend to scale too well to the latter half. We don't see a movement or an evolution towards hive tech from effort either. Trying to make an easier road for his units to get out. And I think he's now got all his upgrades for his Hydras. And now so we're seeing a transition into probably Hydra Lurker. Also takes a 4th up here, and is going to get rid of the DT that was blocking him taking his 5th. So a pretty big macro expansion from our Zerg. Airfu is now moving predominantly Dragoons here. I don't think he even has any Storm with this, but considering it's Mutalisks, why is he killing... Oh, I was going to say he's shooting his own hatchery. I just couldn't see the Zealot tucked in there. But this is going to get shut down. Good scouting from our Protoss. Counter-attack though immediately from effort, and there really isn't much here. Uh-oh. Where are your observers, sir? I'm going to go look for the robo in a second. I just want to catch all these fights. Where's your robo? Oh, there it is. Where's your observer? Observatory still on the way. Oh my god. 15 minutes into a PvZ and he doesn't have an observatory. That is not ideal. In his defense though, he has pretty much only seen mutas until now, but if it did eventually make the transition, he's going to have serious map control with these supply differentials being so close. He's going to be able to establish a fair few number of bases here, and I am no longer liking this game for my Protoss friend. He's going to have a very tough time establishing a 4th base as well. It just doesn't seem to have enough storm or a big enough army here. His army seems pretty small. Where's all your stuff, bro? Oh, here it is. It's sort of running away, but I mean, this is just a sea of red. Kind of all congregating here around the protection from the cannons. Chooses not to engage. He doesn't really have to. I think he can just kind of soft contain him into this half of the map. Corsairs being a nuisance over here. Drones being transferred, but the Hydras are going to shut the front door. Okay, so an observer has arrived, and so the little contain is now... Ooh, that was a nice storm. Ooh, another nice storm. Reinforcements are going to come around here, and I think these Hydras have realized that is not a good place to trade efficiently. We shall move swiftly along, and have done so. So the 180 plays 144. Airfu's army control, as we saw against... Sorry about that. As we saw against Soma, he does tend to move around a huge whack of Protoss units pretty well. He does seem to also enjoy playing with Dragoons. So obviously Hive Tech is a fair counter option. You know, Dark Swarm Defilers, those sorts of fun things. I don't know if attacking in here is the right call. I have a feeling that trying to target down the top left is probably a better use of his time and effort. But let's wait and see. A couple of decent storms here. Units coming in from the top side are kind of going to surround this Protoss army. This is pretty much only Dragoons left. And I think effort is going to fend this off without too much hassle. Not really many storm support anymore, and suddenly the trades I think could shift the other way quite easily. It's just Goon, man. He just makes so many Dragoons. I don't think I've ever seen a Protoss make this many Dragoons in this matchup at this level and do so well, but he seems to just make it work. Does pull away. It's also in this process behind that attack establishing a 4th, which I think is a very important move. So I'm not going to just let this Overlord die, surely, or live. Alright, so he's got his Zealot scouting out there. He needs to make a cannon or 2, but does have sort of this area locked down. And I think we'll continue to occupy the space for the time being. Wow, that is a lot of red. Right, there's a juicy storm if you could just pop one on these congregated units, but I do not see... Oh, there's a couple of High Templars joining the fray now. So we could get some pretty good engages if we're Protoss and we can storm some of these clumped up Hydras. I think that's kind of what these games can come down to sometimes. It's just how these engagements work out. All of these High Templars are running forward though. He lost 2 for free. That is not good, Micro. Very painful if you're a Protoss fan. Decides to pull back. Effort establishing yet another base here. And our Protoss has got a couple of cannons and has saturated that with probes. So that's a good sign. I don't know what these lonely Hydras are doing, except marching to their death. Does pick off 2 High Templars. Oh my god. 3 High Templars and not a single storm. These snipes and just babysit your High Templars, bro. They're just helpless little fawns. I think losing the number of High Templars that Airfu has lost for free here has really, really hurt him. And it's these small things that make such a big difference in this match. Circling around here, some lurkers are morphing in. Deciding to want to pressure this pitch. I mean, it's pretty hatch rich, but it's not mineral rich. So we are going to engage here. This observer is way out of position, so he's going to get... Oh, I swore he was going to get sniped, but clearly I was wrong. Some Hydras are moving in here to try and pressure this newly established base. There are a couple of High Templars here. Protoss army splitting off a bit. There's a lot of Zerg units here, though, kind of waiting for this. Potential to get sandwiched if he's not careful between 2 big Zerg armies. Got to keep an eye on the convergence of red on the minimap. But even just this army alone is so spread out. He's sending in some reinforcements. Those were some really good storms there. You can just see nice corpses in both spots on the map. And once again, just running really well on Dragoon power. Coming in here, these would be really, really great shutdowns if you're Protoss. As expected, if it is sending in some reinforcing units from the bottom side, some really nice storms here, and he's still got plenty of tanking zealots, Dragoons, has managed to keep his observer alive, so the lurkers are not causing too much of a hassle. 144 plays 100, and we are eventually running out of Dragoons, even though we are sending a few reinforcements from our gateway, so is probably going to pull back here. Again, a really, really juicy PvZ. I'm enjoying Airfu's games. They are... I've only done PvZ so far. I don't think I've done a PvT of his yet. I'm looking forward to doing that, though, in the not-too-distant future, because his games are almost always hype and fun, and he's got a very unusual way of playing this matchup. Just a very Dragoon-heavy army composition, and he just seems to make it work, which is super fun. Uh-oh. Full cannon should be enough. He wants to pick off more free High Templars. And he does. So plenty of money if you're a Zerg fan. Decent mining base income if you're a Protoss fan, especially if you can establish this base. I think if he gets this base up and running, and just keeps sending wave after wave, then Effort's going to be in trouble. However, Effort has gone up to Defilers, which will really neutralize? There's definitely an N-word I'm trying to use here to talk about making these Dragoons less useful. Throws in a Plague as well. It's going to make these bases very hard to break. So minimal storms with this. He does have one that he's thrown down. But those cracklings are having a very good time under the Dark Swarm. And he's also changed his composition here to be Zealot heavy. And so our Protoss GG's. He's just realized that he's not going to break, now that Dark Swarm is out, with a specific unit composition. It's not going to break Effort here, and with the number of mining bases that he has, it's just a matter of time before Effort counterattacks and knocks down his newest source of income, which was down here. And he had in fact just thrown a Dark Swarm down here, and I think that was going to be the end of this base. So while we were focused on the fight up here, Effort was counterattacking over here, and if Protoss loses this base, it's game over. As I say quite often, because these are ladder games, players are just practicing. So if they get to a situation where they're like, right, I don't want to try and play myself or grind myself a win out of this, chances are I'm very likely to lose, so let's go next. So we do get the odd abrupt ending, but I really love Airfu's games. He is fun, he's an interesting player. I always love watching Effort play. I think the most hysterical thing ever still is that he built these 2 Hydra dens by mistake, and he still managed to win. But this Dragoon heavy composition in PvZ, while the Zerg is on layer tech, is really, really proving to be very powerful. And I am thoroughly enjoying watching Airfu illustrate the power of it. And he's doing really well with it. So if you stuck around with me to the end of the video, I just want to say thanks very much. I really, really did enjoy it. And until next time, I'll see you soon. You take it easy.